The S&P 500 closed pretty flat for the session. It closed 0.05% down for the session. We did have a nice setup, a nice day for the pretty much from the very opening all the way towards the closing session. Bulls were very much in control and then stepped in the last 5 minutes, creating that massive red candle. But aside from that, it was a really great day for day traders. I had some really amazing opportunities, scalp trading SPY, and I also scalp trade NVIDIA shares as well. Did really well, just taking advantage of very, very small movements on these reversals, and that was really nice. But the S&P 500 so far is still trading inside of this zone here. We haven't really broken out. We had a massive gap down from 583, and we opened the session at 581, went down a little bit, retested the 20 EMA line on the daily chart at 580.40, rebounded all the way back up to 584.49 for the day, retesting yesterday's highs, yesterday's resistance levels, and so far we closed pretty even for the day, so pretty flat for the day. And yeah, bulls are pretty much eating time off the clock. Nothing new today. Bulls are still consolidating inside of that zone. And until we get a move outside of this zone from 578.56 support to 585.27 resistance, I think the market is going to be pretty flat and pretty undecided. Heading into tomorrow's trading session, we are going to get a very volatile day. We got Tesla and IBM earnings after the closing session for Wednesday session, and that is also going to affect the market. But so far, the market is inside of this range from 578.56 support and 585.27 resistance, and we have just been going up and down, wiggling inside of that defined range until we get those earnings data out. And yeah, so far, the market has been good. If you bought at this support level, just at yesterday's support level, where bulls fell to break down, if you bought there, you had some amazing trades throughout the day because the market stepped in for all of the higher lows and followed through with higher highs. Now, I wasn't too confident about trading the S&P 500 today, trading the upside, and the reason why is because most of the sectors were down for pretty much for the first half of the session and then into the second half of the session. However, just into around the second half of the session, 20 minutes in, that's when we finally got the massive breakout squeeze off of the resistance breakout there, and we filled the gap here. And not only did we fill the gap, but we also tested yesterday's breakdown right there at around 584.50. Despite most of the sectors being red, somehow SPY was holding up incredibly well. If you look at this consolidation here, and if you understand supply and demand zones like we do, the way that we trade, you would have seen that there was very, very clear strength within that zone where buyers were very, very aggressive, coming in with massive demand candles, taking out at least 3 red candles every time, and that was going to lead to a squeeze. Now, if we go to the QQQ chart instead on the 5-minute time frame, QQQ was also showing some strength in the beginning of the session. However, if you notice, it was a lot weaker than SPY. While SPY was doing that digesting there, QQQ was actually coming down. So the moment that things really changed for QQQ was when we had that massive green candle. So once we had that massive green candle, that's where I looked at SPY and I saw that massive green candle on SPY, looked at QQQ, saw that massive green candle on QQQ, and then I was like, you know what, team? It's time to enter for our team there. So I entered the QQQ 1 DTE 495 call at 183 at 9:49 a.m. And this was at just after that candle closed. So you can see that candle started at 9:45 and I entered as just before that candle closed. So just around here before the candle got the massive run, that's where I entered the trade, and we did really, really well on that trade. turned out really well. We secured about 35%, 40% on it, 45% actually. Just a really nice trade. Although we got out right here, just when we got that massive squeeze. I was very happy with it. I was already up so much for the day. I think I was up around 3,500 that I waited out this entire move. I didn't even bother trading it because I was just so profitable today. And if I had missed out on that move right there, I would have been able to enter that consolidation there, that digestion. And the reason why is because our mentorship students know once we get a nice liquidity candle, like we can see here, and buyers really engulf the high of that candle, this is going to call for a squeeze operation. And that was just absolutely beautiful. You can see once we got the liquidity, that led to a beautiful rally-based rally that sent prices soaring far above what the recent high was. So we got a higher high, a higher low, and then a massive higher high around 497.40. So imagine if I did keep that one DTE contract over pretty much all the way until 497, that would have been $3 in the money. Add another $300 there, that would have been some really amazing profits. But again, the way that I keep my probabilities high is by getting out when the run pretty much comes to an end. And if anything, I can decide to get back in anywhere around here and pretty much take advantage of that move, knowing that the high probability setup is there, the buyers are there, and I didn't just depend on the market gods to kind of consolidate there and then break out. It's like, okay, I got out right over here, and then I watched it consolidate. I see buyers are showing up. I'm going to get back in. That to me is a much higher probability opposed to just staying in the trade, in the day trade or the scalp trade that you are taking. So now that I talked about some of my trades that I took today, let's take a look at the chart. Just as we mentioned yesterday, QQQ isn't really, it didn't really do much. It closed nearly flat for the session. However, we are eating time off the clock, and the fact that they are eating time off the clock and they held that uptrend line really well, and so far we have been consolidating just under that supply candle. The moment we get above that supply candle at 497, that's going to shoot us all the way towards its historic all-time highs at 503.19 from the mid-July peak right there. So once we do break 503 historic all-time highs there, just like what NVIDIA did, I think we will pierce right above it in a very similar fashion that NVIDIA did and continue to advance from there. The reason why I say that is because if we look at the S&P 500, this is the mid-July peak right there, and we are already far above the historic all-time highs from the mid-July peak right there. And if we look at the Dow Jones Industrials, same thing. This is the mid-July peak right there, and so far we are trading far above that. So the only two portfolios that are really behind are IWM and QQQ. IWM did go all the way up and retest its historic all-time highs from the mid-July. However, it has been selling off, and as long as bulls do step in and hold this, I think this is good for the bulls. I'll continue to watch it. I am loving small caps. I've been making some great profits on small caps, and I will continue to watch it from here because this so far looks like a cup and handle on the bigger time frames, such as the weekly as well as the monthly time frame. So once this consolidation here that's taking place on the monthly time frame over the last 4 months finally matures and we break above 225, the next resistance up ahead for IWM will be 233 and then 244 there. So this will greatly benefit small caps. And I think if inflation data continues to show that inflation is heading lower, then this is, oh my gosh, I can't even imagine where this is going to go. IWM could pretty much go up 30 to 50% from here. Now let's take a look at QQQ. QQQ right here, although we have yet to see historic all-time highs, it doesn't look too bad. So this is the monthly time frame, and our mentorship students know something we with the RSI. The strategy is, once the RSI gets above 70%, that triggers a melt up operation in correspondence with the time frame that you're looking at. And in this case, we are looking at the monthly time frame, and you can see for yourself anytime we get these 70% uh, RSI pierces above the 70%, in an uptrending market, you get that massive melt up operation. Now, it is important to note that when you're in a downtrending market, it works the opposite, and you got to be careful. And the context is very important. So, the fact that we are in an uptrending market with the RSI being at 70%, above 70%, that triggers a melt up operation, and this is what we are seeing on the monthly time frame. So let's talk about the last 3 months here on QQQ. What do we have here? Well, we got the massive liquidity, and if you are a trader, and if you're a price action trader that is watching price action, and you pretty much had a nice rally, right? Your trend is backed by a nice rally, and then what you are seeing is, you're seeing a period of consolidation. If you are seeing a period of digestion, where the digestion is pretty much digesting that prior large move that we had, and and you are seeing that bulls are clearly holding, there are two type of price action reactions that you look for. The first one is getting these massive engulfing candles. If you saw that on the monthly time frame for QQQ last year in November, there is no way that you would have not been bullish, considering that just 1 month candle engulfed 4 monthly candles. So that was beautiful. We all remember how that went. We made some great profits off of that run. And now here we are. We got another consolidation. And the consolidation not only has a breakout above the level of resistance, but this consolidation came in a different form. It collected liquidity in a different form because it's up much higher than where the prior consolidation was. This one required collecting liquidity through the wicks there, as we can see. So the fact that we got that massive liquidity, now moving back to the kind of reactions that I look for. The first one is these kind of demand candles. The second one is these kind of wick candles, where you get a massive drop. The drop gets engulfed all the way back up, absorbed all the way back up by the bulls, and you pretty much regain the consolidation zone, and then you step in with a green candle. Once you see that, this absorption right here is going to fuel that monthly green candle there. So what I'm trying to say here is that the setup is there for the bulls. Now, what do we need to pay attention to heading into the next 2 weeks to not only take advantage of this month, but also the upcoming month? Well, from this breakout, from this rally-based rally, well, we need to pay attention to Tesla earnings tomorrow. We got Tesla earnings tomorrow after the closing bell, and then we have IBM. If Tesla does surprise investors and beats, that is going to be great for QQQ. And I think bulls are going to head towards 503 historic all-time highs before we head into next week's Microsoft and Meta earnings on Wednesday after the closing session, and then Amazon and Apple's earnings on Thursday after the closing session. So that's what the market is waiting for. And if these earnings reports come out positive, expect more upside, because the setup is definitely there on QQQ to advance higher. Now, again, the S&P 500 has already been melting up, and I mentioned that the very same day, the very same month we broke up. Once we got that liquidity candle, I already shared with our team that we were going to get that melt up operation, and so far it has been amazing trading those 2 months there. So far this month is also closing green, and I wouldn't be shocked if we do get another green month after that, considering that we are in a melt up operation. As we can see, once we enter these melt up operations, the dips, we just continue to go higher, and price action gets very nonsensical. Yes, we are overbought, but they do tend to extend higher on that melt up operation. So this is what we have on SPY and DIA. I'm not really looking at DIA, and I'm also again, I am looking at IWM, but my focus is on the tech stocks, because a lot of interest is going into the tech stocks. A lot of rotation is flowing into them from the other sectors and into the tech, and that has been that has had my interest. So let's talk about some tech stocks that are looking really, really great. Here is Microsoft. Microsoft is one that I am watching for to see if they're going to beat earnings, because as we can see here, we are in an uptrend on the monthly time frame. We have a rally base and a beautiful rally that played out. And so far, we have another rally base, and this could lead to another beautiful rally. Now, this rally base rally is one of the four formulas of supply and demand, if you are not aware, and it is one of the greatest ways to trade price action in the market. It helps you understand, or it helps you see when the market is flat and when you need to be a seller and when you need to be a buyer, which are during the directional markets. And in this case, as we can see here, it has been a seller's market on Amazon. We have been going sideways for about 7 months here, actually about 8 months here, and so far it is looking like bulls are stepping in. And if earnings goes well for this stock next week, we are going to see that next rally the same way that we saw here towards the 230s and 240s on Amazon. Amazon is also trading above a very key level from 2021. So in 2021, we peaked twice at 188. 0.45, and we rejected right there, and that led to the major sell-off that we got back inside of the prior zone there. So as our mentorship students know, once you get that rally based rally, and then price action goes back inside of that prior zone there, that zone becomes a demand because it led to a breakout originally. So in this case, if you do see a demand reaction there, you're going to be a long buyer, and that would have uh, done you very, very well. So in this case, we are seeing an uptrend. So we are just seeing rally-based rallies that are working out really, really well. And this could be another one that could just break out really nice, collect a lot of liquidity off of that historic all-time highs there from 3 years ago, and see new historic all-time highs. I think if earnings goes well, Amazon 100% has the setup and can see some amazing upside from here. It has the liquidity, it has the absorption of the level of resistance there, so it's already taken it out, and now it just needs that catalyst there. Now, we talked about Microsoft in yesterday's session, and we talked about how we needed a demand candle to come in, and take a look at Microsoft. Absolutely beautiful, massive demand reaction on the regain of the 200 SMA line, and our team banked really, really well on this in two different channels. We banked on the 2K cash account team as well as the swing trade, because I had alerted them for both. So the swing trade team made 225, and I think our 2K cash account team made about 170 to, I would say some traders made 200, because they woke up a little bit later than we did, which I hope I held, because oh my goodness, it just continued to explode. But so far we got that massive demand candle. We got the candle that that bulls really need. And if earnings goes well, this stock is going to go towards historic all-time highs and pretty much advance from there. Just like Amazon, this tech stock has been consolidating for about 6-7 months here, and it's just been going sideways, and it's finally starting to get that breakout candle. Whenever you get these massive demands at these key levels, it's very important, because that is what can trigger that major uptrend, as we can see right there. As you can see also right there above the 20 EMA line, that was another beautiful demand. So when you see those demand candles just at where the bears failed to break down, that is speaking to the traders. That's price action speaking to the traders. So I'm really looking forward to this setup heading into earnings. And if they do well, there is so much upside to be seen on Microsoft there. And the other stock, Nvidia, obviously this one's just continuing to go higher, making new highs every day. And so far we are trading right at the 70%. And I'm just patiently and curiously watching to see if they are going to trigger the same kind of breakout that we had here, where it led to a major melt-up operation above the 70%. And I'm just really waiting for that. I haven't seen them pierce above it, and I'm just waiting for that in the upcoming sessions with some digestion above the resistance there, showing that buyers are clearly showing strength above the breakout. And if they continue to show strength, wait for the moving averages to catch up. I think that's just going to continue to push this stock higher. That's my price action analysis for QQQ and SPY. If you have not subscribed to my YouTube channel, please go ahead and do that. It's going to help me out greatly, and it will keep these videos rolling. It'll encourage me greatly, and I would really appreciate that. Thank you, and see you tomorrow.